I think that subconsciously the Clint Eastwood movie Unforgiven from 1992 has been a big influence on the way I look at music. I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, and I'd like to try and share with you the model I think it can represent for heavy metal music. I mean that as a model perhaps primarily for the music itself, but also for lyrical themes, which combined makes up the general impression of the music. And I'm going to assume that you have seen the movie, and if not, watch it. This is not an analysis on the meaning of the film, but rather the mood, how it develops, how it ends in a very broad sense. First, there is ambiguity. You don't know what's good and what's bad. Everything has a bit of both. And then in the end, or when it all comes around, it's all about kicking ass. And the ending of the movie wouldn't have been as powerful without that ambiguity leading up to it. Maybe not all people see this the same way, but I see it like this. Unforgiven was viewed as kind of an anti-Western, breaking illusions of glory, and it was up until that last scene. Now, Clint Eastwood's character is not a good man, but in that moment he unbreaks the illusion. He makes it whole again and gives the viewers what they perhaps secretly are craving. He brings it on. He goes out guns blazing. By the way, the same can be said for Stallone's Rambo comeback in 2008. In the end, it's all about the ass kicking. But there has to be something leading up to it. Stuff cannot kick ass all the time. Well, perhaps if you're Exciter. But that's why I always say not to play heavy metal hard and fast all the time. Not name all your songs Iron of Steel, but choose the right moment to strike. Like I said in a previous video, that feeling you had when you were a kid watching cool stuff go down in a cartoon. They too had pacing, suspense, and build-up, leading up to those glorious moments and the rush of awesomeness. Isn't that what we're all looking for here? What we are looking for in heavy metal? This genre, which like no other, can convey that feeling. Of course, in songs, it doesn't have to be as complex as the build-ups and contrasts of Unforgiven, and it doesn't have to particularly go from ambiguity to kicking ass. And furthermore, by kicking ass, I don't necessarily mean it has to be fast and aggressive, but in some way invoke that feeling of now we're getting serious. Of course, it's a common formula that you build up for something and then have a release, not the least of which is the normal relation between verse and chorus. But I hope I have been able to explain, or at least spark a thought on just how much you can enrich that relationship or that contrast between the more thoughtful build-up and the more primal release. Because in any climax, thoughts should go out the window and only feelings remain. I haven't spoken too much about the lyrical side of this yet, but lyrically, personally, this inspiration is responsible for a song like Swing the Studded Mace, whose lyrics are about messy, unflattering moments on the battlefield, but still with a heroic touch amidst all this. And musically, it has inspired a song like Stan Brinner, which for the most part is quite easygoing, but in the end takes a more dramatic and anthemic turn. And personally, I'm a sucker for this change to come quite drastically. A build-up, yes, but not in the way of, oh, I can sense it's coming here, it's coming any second now, but rather abruptly. And this penchant for abruptness comes personally from the song Evil Dream by Zone Zero, and it has also been done in recent times fantastically in the song Lethal Steel by the band with the same name. I'm gonna put some links in the description to songs that I believe are prime examples of songs leading up to glorious moments, and let me also know your examples. And despite all these things that I say about how heavy metal should be and stuff like that, when all comes around, heavy metal can be as strong as its strongest link.